we just finished watching our second preseason game for the Baltimore Ravens, and there was some good, some bad, and of course some ugly. It's preseason football. These are guys fighting for a roster spot. Most of them will not be starters or see much playing time come the regular season. Of course, the offensive line is a different story, as that has been kind of the major story throughout training camp, in my opinion, as you know, there's still a lot of question marks for the Baltimore Ravens offensive line. Obviously, they have tremendous talent at center with Tyler Linderbaum and left tackle Ronnie Stanley, but the other three positions, we don't really know what they have at this point. We've heard very positive things about Andrew Voorhees at left guard, but the right side of that line has had some major question marks. Now, of course, Tyler Linderbaum and Ronnie Stanley, we know, have not played in the preseason for obvious reasons. Tyler Linderbaum is not healthy at this particular moment. I think he's dealing with some soft tissue issues, which is the Baltimore Ravens theme at this point. And then Ronnie Stanley, is not going to play in the preseason, obviously. So after the game, you all saw the performance. Ben Cleveland has been taking over the center duties mostly through the first two games, or partly. And we all saw that awful miscommunication snap that led to a turnover. And of course, John Harbaugh was asked about offensive line play after the game. I'm going to play a couple clips. The first clip, he was talking about Josh Johnson leading the offense in the field, and he referenced the fumble. So I'm going to play that clip because just watch how John Harbaugh, his body language, and then I'm going to play the actual answer, very short answer, when he was directly asked about the offensive line, and then we'll give a little reaction to that.
Yeah, I thought he played really well. I mean, Josh did a great job, got us on a few plays here and there. Had a chance to move the team down the field twice really well. Had the unfortunate snap, and be the kindest word I could use to give it, but that stopped the one drive, so the first one. So yeah, I thought Josh played well.
So I know you haven't seen the film, but anything you can say about the offensive line, what you saw as far as the performances?
Yeah, I mean, really, you got to go back and watch the tape with those guys. There were some good plays and some bad plays, and until you see the tape, you really don't know.
Now, obviously, I don't want to blow anything out of proportion here. I'm not saying John Harbaugh feels any particular way about any particular player. I know it's the preseason, all that. Okay, so preface all that. This is not an overreaction here. However, this was kind of out of character, I thought, for John Harbaugh. During the game, when Ben Cleveland made that bad snap, of course, went over Josh Johnson's head and led to a turnover, we saw John Harbaugh throw his hands on his head. And in these answers, he just seems visibly irritated and frustrated, in my opinion. Maybe I'm totally overreacting to that and misreading that. Let me know in the comments if you see that as well, or maybe not. Now, does this mean anything big picture? Probably not. But I think it's telling that this offensive line needs work. And they're breaking in three new guys, so that's really not surprising whatsoever. You have two anchors on that offensive line come season. Right now, it's very important that these three other guys emerge. And John Harbaugh looks visibly frustrated, in my opinion, speaking about it. Ben Cleveland, like I've said in recent videos, does not look like he has not really panned out since he's been in Baltimore. Again, I mean, no disrespect when I say that. I wish him nothing but the best. These guys are obviously fighting for roster spots, and this is how they take care of their families, their livelihoods. So in no way, shape, or form do I mean to disrespect any of these guys when I talk about them, but I don't see Ben Cleveland being a starter on this offensive line. Will he get playing time? Maybe, probably, but I don't see them trotting him out week one. I think Roger Rosengarten, the rookie out of Washington, is going to develop into a really good tackle. It's just going to take a little time being a rookie. He was part of the Joe Moore winning offensive line in college. So the thing about offensive lines, as you all know, it takes all five guys to execute at a very high level to be an effective offensive line. You could have four really good offensive linemen and then one guy who blows an assignment or just doesn't execute properly, and it makes the entire unit look bad. So I expect maybe a little bit of a bumpy start in the beginning. Not from Tyler Linderbaum, not from Ronnie Stanley. Well, hopefully not from Ronnie Stanley, but I do expect some bumps in the road. This offensive line, I think, is going to be a work in progress, and I think as we get further into the season, I do have confidence that they will figure it out, because it's going to be very, very crucial. One thing that has really stood out in these first 2 preseason games is the Ravens' lack of push on the offensive line. Obviously, the Ravens are known for their dominant running game. This game, they only ran the ball for 71 yards. Their leading rusher averaged less than 2.5 yards a carry. Again, I know this is preseason, and in the grand scheme of things mean very little. I'm not going to say nothing, because there will be some starters from what we saw today will be starting. So that's not a very encouraging sign at this point. I do expect that to get better, but that's something that has to get better. It absolutely has to. That is a staple for the Baltimore Ravens offense, and I think it will. The Ravens have all the right people in place, I believe, to figure it out and get it done. But that's going to wrap up this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think John Harbaugh? What did you think of his answers? What do you think of the offensive line play so far in the preseason? Who has, really stood out? And then good or bad, I want to hear all your opinions about that in the comments. And tell me, do you think John Harbaugh looked visibly irritated or frustrated when answering these questions? I think he did a little bit. Again, I don't think it means much in the grand scheme of things, but I thought it was interesting because we don't really see Harbaugh show much negative emotion in these press conferences. He's usually very positive, kind of like a politician. He kind of just is very positive and only highlights the good things about his players. So let me know in the comments. And if you are new to this channel, subscribe for all things Baltimore Ravens news. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next video. Go Ravens.